Hi guys, J77 here. Doing another flashback review. I'm continuing with the George Burns movies that I've seen with my grandmother, including myself at one point. And the movie is going in style. This film, my grandma didn't force me to see. She mentioned it about it to me, but I never really paid much attention to it until later on down the road. What got me interested in this movie was not much as George Burns, but his co-star, Art Carney. Art Carney, of course, he needs no introduction. He is Ed Norton from The Honeymooners, one of my favorite television characters that I grew up with. I absolutely loved The Honeymooners series, and from that reason only, I actually seen one of his movies before. It was a Boys Town film, a TV made for TV movie film. It was very, very good. And I decided, let me see this one. At least I have one of my favorite characters in this film. I'm just going to give you a very brief, short synopsis on this one. Three old guys, they decided they're bored, they pretty much have very nothing to do, and one of them decided, hey, let's rob a bank. And that's exactly what they did. They robbed a bank and actually at one point got away with it. How they managed to do it, I can safely say it's the most funniest thing I've ever seen. They was wearing a big nose with glasses. I think it was that these disguises were designed after a famous comedian. I'm pretty sure about that. And they planned everything. They had their guns and stuff. They already had their getaway well planned it, and they just went to the bank and basically hold up the bank. The funny part is that everybody looked at these guys. Nobody raised their hand in the air. They just stared at them, thinking, "Is this really happening? Are these guys serious?" But apparently they were. And what ended up happening was George Burns ended up shooting a bullet with one of the clocks. And that pretty much got everybody's attention. They didn't realize they were serious. Although they never really planned to hurt anybody, it did scare a lot of people there. And they basically put the money in a special bowling bag, and they just basically bounced. They got away. They're pretty much excited. They can't believe they pulled up the heist. However, that excitement basically killed one of their partners. He died while on his way to the hospital, and it pretty much sets up the film premise of going in style, which unfortunately the title alone pretty much sums up the movie, that either all of them's going to die or at least one will make it through this film. But needless to say, one did make it through this film, and that's the main star, George Burns. Art Carney and George Burns have arranged the funerals. They paid it out of the money they heist, and we pretty much got more drama in this second act than we did comedy. But it's still pretty much, there's some of the stuff they do was pretty much funny. It's pretty much old classic comedy, which I will say, if you watch it now, some people will not find anything funny about it. It's one of those kind of jokes that pretty much I think older viewers will catch it and pretty much get a good chuckle out of it. What I'm saying is the film is pretty much outdated, but not to the point where it cannot be enjoyable. So in any case, in this film, the two of them, they decided to go all out, have a little fun. However, their fun quickly was cut short because George Burns realized that they made this something wrong, and the cops may be zooming in on them. However, while trying to explain that, or when I say wake Art Carney up, he finds out that Art Carney died in his sleep. He was very tired. He was not feeling very well, and he went to sleep, and he never woke back up. This upsets George Burns, as rightfully so, and this really upset me. I said, "Oh man, they killed my favorite character." But I pretty much already embraced for that kind of emotion, even though it was still emotional. These characters were very, very lovable guys. I actually like these characters very, very much. So anyhow, he tells he tells one of the living relatives about it. A guy who he really respects and love. He cares for him as well, and he told him that look, he passed away, but he also told him that look, I want to let you know that we did that heist. I'm gonna tell you where the money is, but you can't tell nobody what happened to it. And so he was reluctant, but he agrees to not say anything. So anyway, George Byrne gets caught. He actually got captured. The cops got him in custody. They are basically interrogating him, and they made it very clear that they don't care how old he is. You're going to serve time for what you did. And George Byrne pretty much, he's like, I'm already old. I'm going to die, anyway. I'm living on borrowed time. Lock me up. That's his attitude approach. He doesn't care. He's not turning in the money, and he probably and pretty much he doesn't want any of his best friend's family members to go after him to try and free him. He's happy being in jail. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison, and that was end up happening in the film. In the end of the film, you see him walking back in his cell, and the credits roll. Really was sad, really was depressing, but in all fairness, I kind of expected this is the way the film was going to end. Did it disappoint me? No, because I thought the film was well acted. I thought the movie was well paced. The comedy, although to people's standards now it maybe look a little stale, to me when I saw it for the first time and the second time for that matter, it still holds up pretty well. But like I said before, it's not one of those films that is made for everybody. This is more for mature audiences. It's not violent. There's no curse words in this film, but it is basically for general audiences. This is basically for more mature audience, pretty much in the 30s. This is not for like a teen, early 20s film. But for me, it worked it fine. It worked it just fine. And then out of all the George Burns films, this one was the one I liked the most. I mean, this one I really did. I got to see one of my favorite actors on television do what he does best. And to be fair, George Byrne held his own beautifully in this film. He held this one more better than all the Oh God movies combined. I really think that he really showed his best performance in this movie, bar none. The only thing about it is, like I said before, is that the comedy, you're pretty much mature audience is going to get what the jokes are. I will say this: the music is very well done in this movie. The music really matched what was going on quite nicely. It was a very classic, old style score that I really did appreciate every time it came on. It's no John Williams, but it's definitely a good score to at least sit down and enjoy. Other than that, this film gets 3 stars. It really impressed me. I was very happy with the film. But I will say, word of caution, if you're going to see this film, be advised, it's not really meant for a younger crowd. I think the older audiences, 30 and up, will actually have more appreciation for this film than someone who's like in their teens or in their early to mid-20s. I don't see them enjoying this or even liking this film as though it's for someone who already know who George Byrne is, who already seen his comedy acts, who's seen Arcani's comedic roles, who grew up with the Honeymooners. You're basically getting that kind of comic relief. So pretty much that's just about it. I still have one more film from George Byrne. This is the last one I saw from him. And that film, I'm going to basically tell you, is 18 again. So that's the one I'm going to be talking to you about. But until then, you guys take care.